Right, having been quite strict about time earlier, obviously I need to now keep to time. So my name is Vicky Speed. I am a clinical informatician at the Bennett Institute, and I also am a pharmacist in secondary care, an anti-coag pharmacist by trade at King's College Hospital in London. I am the project lead for OpenPrescribing Hospitals, and we've taken a lot of learning from the 10 years of experience of open prescribing in primary care. So I'm going to talk a bit about how we've applied that learning for the hospitals project. So in case you missed it, open prescribing is an openly available platform sat on the English prescribing dataset, and open prescribing hospitals sits on the secondary care medicines dataset, which Colin introduced earlier. So these tools are really important. As we touched on earlier, there's so much openly available data out there, but platforms like ours, like Define, like EPAC, Prescript, Fingertips, they all make that data easier to use and to get actionable insights from, so they're really important. Luckily, at the Bennett Institute, we love huge data sets and we make a business out of it, turning all of these data sets into tools, and we can do that because we're a mixed team of software developers, clinicians, academics, and we put everything together and make these tools. And we think it's really important to share all of our code and to use modern methods in our approach to building these. So, wind back the clock 10 years. Open prescribing was born just under £47,000 to get it going from the West of England Academic Health Network, and at that time it was a team of 2. But the core principles were still the same, that it was a publicly available platform and all of the code, analytic and for the platform, openly available at that time. For nostalgia, here's with 6 measures that we started out with. We had StarPU at that time, that's subsequently been dropped, but ultimately it doesn't look that dissimilar to how it does now, so that's how we started. Open prescribing is a little bit different today. So we now have a multi-year contract with the NHSE, Primary Care and Medicines Analytics Unit, funding us to do open prescribing. And now we have 77 current measures. We did have 100 at some point, but now we've got 77. We've got absolutely loads of users, 35,000 unique users in just 1 month, 172,000 page views, and lots of emails alerts going out to practices each month. If you put open prescribing into Google Scholar last week, you get 885 manuscripts returned. So lots and lots of people are using our platform, which is fantastic. And even more features. So we've gone on from having the measures and the analyze tool to having lots more tools for our users to use. So we've really, really grown. So with 10 years of experience of open prescribing, what have we learned and how have we applied that in our approach to building a new platform, Open Prescribing Hospitals, which we launched in March of this year? We didn't just take measures and the custom analyze and put that onto the platform. It's more about how we've approached the building of open prescribing hospitals. So, first up, we like to make tools that people can use. And when we talked about that in the group, that means 2 different things. So easy to use, easy to drive, and get through that data, and easy to get actionable insights. So data that you can take away to practices, ICBs, and go and get some work done to make a difference. So how do we do that? So like many platforms, we build measures, we curate measures based on nationally important priorities. And we do that, as one of our team said, because it's so easy to get lost in the data, and we don't want people in all of the practices in England getting lost in the data. So we will build those measures for people to prevent that reinventing of the wheel. And here we've got a measure for low and medium intensity statins by sub-ICB. NICE says that we should use high-intensity statins because they have substantial reductions in cardiovascular outcomes at same cost, same adverse risk profile. So we need low and medium intensity statins to be as low as possible. So that red line on the decile charts over there needs to be lower. And as with all of our open prescribing measures, lower is better. And that's something that we've also tried to carry through for open prescribing hospitals. With that measure, we try to make it easy to get actionable insights. So you sat in your ICB, you can drill down into practices, into sub-ICBs and practices to look where there's variation. You can spot variation quickly, go to that practice and try and implement and understand why that data looks like it is and implement change. So this is, we think this helps to really to make a difference out there. To understand, okay, how am I going to actually go and tackle this problem? And we wrote that up, and it's a really nice paper. You're looking at quick adoption of, quick implementation of being able to change practice with statins, and that's a really nice paper that was written quite a little while ago now. We think the hardest thing, and maybe Colin would agree with me, the hardest thing about hospital data, or one of the hardest things, is measuring quantity. What is the best unit of measure? And we had lots and lots of conversations about this. OpenPrescribing Hospitals is an open platform, so there's lots of people going to come in and look at our platform, so we have to make it easy to use. This is a chart looking at 3 preparations of coamoxiclav, and quite rightly, as you would expect from processed pharmacy stock data, which is the SCMD, it's in its form of mils, tablets, vials. But you can't put those together and get a meaningful output in its raw form. It would be like comparing apples and pears. So we make a recommendation. And maybe we haven't got this right yet, and we're working on it, and we want to hear what people think. So we're making a recommendation based on the custom analysis that the user puts in. So if you put 2 different drugs in with different preparations, we will suggest that you use a defined daily dose to get a meaningful return. We can't know what's easy to use and how people get actionable insights without listening to what people say. So we have a large user base, and users talk to us and tell us what they need from the platform. So we've got lots of people telling us what to do on open prescribing. So we need to build that and continue to build that in open prescribing hospitals. So far, we've got some really nice new measures from secondary care coming from some early users. So we've got 3 measures looking at a switch over from intravenous anti-cancer therapies over to subcut preparations. And that's for, if you're interested, for Phesgo, atezolizumab, and nivolumab. And they're really nice new measures specifically for secondary care. I get asked so many times on my travels for open prescribing hospitals, go on, who uses the most? And it's normally, are we doing more than Guy's and St Thomas's? I don't know how many times I've been asked that question. Anyway, so we've included summary tables at the bottom of all of the custom analyses, so you can see who uses the most. And one of the really nice things is that you can go and nick their guidelines, well, not nick them, share them. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel for new drugs coming in. We can give things to people quickly, and that's because of some of the technology that we have available with open prescribing. We've tried to have the same available for open prescribing hospitals in that we can share previews of measures. So dapagliflozin became available generically for generic pricing in September. This is a very crude timeline of what happened. So the news broke on the Thursday, and by the Monday, we had previewed a measure, we'd shared it, we got feedback, and we launched it on the Monday. And if you don't believe me, there's the GitHub repo and all the changes to show that. Iterative development is really important. We've made over 10,500 changes to the platform since launch in 2015, and we really listen to feedback. So that measure can change if we get feedback from users that it needs to look different to be more helpful. And we've done that with dapagliflozin for the open prescribing hospitals, where we've added some timestamps in here because the generic pricing kicks in from September 25, but actually there's a change in NICE guidance which shows a big old NICE drop there, but that's not actually what this measure was aiming to show. So we've tried to put timestamps in there. And finally, we show users how we worked it out. We think that's really important, and we've done that with open prescribing in lots of different ways. You can look at our SQL, you can look at our chat, it's sometimes mundane, but still you can look at our chat about how we make decisions, because it's all openly available on GitHub. You could go to the individual lines of code. You can look at a measure on the Analyze page. We'll even write a blog about it, and we'll send you a newsletter about it. So you can really see all of the steps that we make and why we made them, so that you could reproduce those locally if you wanted to. We've gone one step further with open prescribing hospitals and included a lay description of our calculations. We think that's been quite helpful so far, but would be interested to hear feedback on that. And finally, to recap, I've got to the end. These are the 4 things, and I was trying to think of the best way to wrap this up. And actually, I think it's every one of those learnings that we've got here includes users and people, and it's users and people that are going to make open prescribing hospitals hopefully successful and helpful in the same way as open prescribing. So if we can get that right, then hopefully open prescribing hospitals will also be as good a success as OP. So happy birthday, open prescribing, and thank you to everyone that's funded it and supported it.